¿No se merece tu familia lo mejor? Entonces, ¿por qué no los mejores huevos? Ahora, Eggland's Best están disponibles en deliciosas opciones. Huevos clásicos, de gallina libre de jaula y orgánicos de Eggland's, que ofrecen un sabor más delicioso y fresco de granja que le encantará a tu familia. En comparación con los huevos ordinarios, Eggland's Best contiene la mejor nutrición como 6 veces más vitamina D, 10 veces más vitamina E y el doble de omega 3 y B12. Solo Eggland's Best. Mejor sabor, mejor nutrición, mejores huevos. Visita egglandsbest.com para más información.
This is Dream Power Radio, the place where your dreams turn into reality. Here is your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Dream Power Show on the amazing Women and Men of Power Network, the world's leading positive programming network, powered by Raven International. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, the Dream Coach. This is the show where we talk about dreams, both daytime and nighttime dreams, and how you can use them to make the internal shift to a life you love. And, as a reminder, I'm here to help you understand your dreams. So if you have a dream that's got you stumped, email me at debbie@dreampowerradio.com. I can help you interpret your dream or even answer any general questions you may have about dreams. So again, you can always email me at debbie@dreampowerradio.com. We don't tend to think of the great abolitionist Frederick Douglass as a child care expert, but he did coin a phrase that's well worth repeating. It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Or women too, I may add. As a dream life coach, I encounter so many people who are wounded by belief systems they got when they were young. Beliefs like, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve anything nice, or bad things always happen to me. Well, what if we could follow Mr. Douglas's admonition and make our children strong from the get-go? What if we could teach them how to handle stress and disappointment and worry in a way that makes them feel empowered and ready to take the world on head on? Well, that's the focus of my guest today, Caron Goode. Caron is a nationally recognized expert on child development and parenting. She's a licensed psychotherapist and founder and managing director of the Academy for Coaching Parents and the author of numerous books on parenting, including Raising Intuitive Children, Kids Who See Ghosts, and Nurture Your Child's Gift. Welcome to the Dream Power Show, Caron.
Thank you. I am glad to be here with you.
And I'd love to be talking with you about parenting and how to raise emotionally healthy children. Caron, your focus is on teaching parents and coaches how to be effective role models for their children. Why is it that parents need so much help? Why isn't parenting intuitive to us all?
Well, I'm not sure that I can answer why all of us aren't intuitive parents. However, I understand that, think of the overwhelm that a new child, baby. If you think about a new parent and the overwhelm that they have with a new baby, then imagine that each time a child goes through a major age change and the brain continues developing, the parent continues to see new behaviors and new emotions and new excitement or new meltdowns. And so the way to really understand our child right off from the beginning is to understand their temperament. Because the children, as the brain develops and their temperament traits begin to be observed by parents, whether it might be throwing a tantrum or wanting to help and getting in the way. But if you think of the 4 temperament types of a child who comes into the world with needs and fears and a temperament that needs to be acted out and developed, So if we can identify those temperaments early on in life, then I think the parent has an advantage in understanding how those temperament traits are going to unfold and be prepared for that. It helps to understand the temperaments.
Okay, you said that there are 4 different types of temperaments. Could you go into that a little bit more?
Yeah, those basic 4 temperaments are pretty much standard in all the literature. But if you think of a child who is a helper, the one that enjoys helping the parents, setting the table, playing games with parents, wanting to continue to be supportive in that way. Sometimes they get in the way and sometimes we don't want their help, but that's the helper. And then you have the influencer who loves to be in the spotlight, and he's the one that does cannonballs in the pool and says, hey, look at me. And so the attention that they get is mostly, if you're looking at how this achieves in parenting over a long period of time, say for early childhood, then as the brain develops, you will see the influencer beginning to talk more to other children and be a director and say, hey, let's organize these games. So they like to influence people and they like to tell you about their day. And so that's one that we listen to patiently, very patiently.
I will say, a few years ago, I co-wrote a sort of humorous look on parenting, a book called It Came Out of My Vagina, Now What? In which I basically said, don't do what I did, because I pretty much, I think, made all the mistakes in the book you can make in terms of raising children. Even though I really thought I was doing my best and trying my best, there were a lot of things that, looking back, I wish I hadn't done. Even though my kids will now say they're adults now, and they'll say, they're basically healthy adults. They haven't murdered anybody or, embezzled funds or done anything terrible like that. So, they basically grew up okay. But I do think that, I could have done so much more for them if I knew then what I knew now. Because at the time I was a young mother, I really didn't know much of anything. Do you think that's really the case with most parents, is that they just don't know what to do?
I think parents today are probably better educated than you and I were. But you can read all the books, but when it comes down to your child is screaming and you need to do something, yes, I think we all might panic a little bit and wonder, have I done the right thing? Or I'm sorry that I screamed at him. Or my child is throwing a tantrum on the floor. I once got an email that said, hello, I'm desperate. My child is 1.5 years and throwing a tantrum and screaming. What should I do? So I suggested that they pick the child up or walk the child around and just provide comfort. And the email that came back said, that's okay, we solved our problem by spanking the child. And in some countries and states today, spanking is actually...
Welcome back to the Dream Power Show. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, the Dream Coach.
Strike your children,
and we're talking
or
with
even
parenting expert Caron Goode all about how to raise emotionally healthy
because
children.
We don't know what to do and we're tired and your child needs attention, give yourself permission to relax a little bit, take it easy, take a deep breath, and move forward. I think that's the best advice I can give any parent, is just take a deep breath and center yourself. I used to say to myself, I'm here, I'm present, I can do this. And sometimes just stopping and saying that to myself reoriented my thinking. And maybe there's statements that parents can tell themselves to boost their energy and say, I can do it.
We're actually going to take a short break here. We're talking with Caron Goode about parenting on the Dream Power Show, and we'll be right back.
When is a car not a car? When it shows up in your dreams. Cars are one of the most common dream symbols. If you don't know why you're dreaming about cars or any image, it can leave you confused or scared. But that dream could be a solution to a pressing problem, or an insight into a solution that's been bugging you for years. Go to my website and sign up for a complimentary discovery session, and I'll help you understand why a dream is a terrible thing to waste. Go to thedreamcoach.net for more information.
Welcome back to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Yes, and welcome back to Dream Power Radio. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, the Dream Coach, and we're talking with parenting expert Caron Goode all about how to raise emotionally healthy children. Caron?
And wouldn't you also say that another factor is for the parent themselves to have some love for themselves, and that their love for themselves can be transmitted to their children as well?
That's a beautiful statement. Yes. If we can provide ourselves with a little more rest, love ourselves, and take care of our essentials and sleeping, eating, rest, and just a break. Yes. Give yourself a break. Tell yourself you're okay and you're human, and move on.
Yeah. And let's say that, you're a great new parent and you basically have a child who isn't really giving you too many problems. You think the child's developing emotionally. What can you do as a parent to really make the child, to have empathy, to be considerate, to be the kind of person that you want to be someone who is, making a difference in the world in a positive way? What kinds of things can you do to help your child develop it that way?
I think there are two things. One is to show those qualities yourself as a parent. Show empathy, show direction, give direction. For a child to be an experiencer of empathy, I think they have to be in a situation where they might be upset, or where they want to take a toy away, or where they're not happy with how a schoolmate might be teasing them at school. So processing those situations and understanding that maybe that child had a problem, or you can come home and talk to me about these things. So the demonstration of empathy is one thing, but having the child in a situation where they have to offer that empathy to someone else is an experience that parents can provide. Yes, of course, sometimes it can be off the cuff with a neighbor, that a child may be having a problem with. But I do think that we can create these also. I remember when my grandson was in preschool, the teacher had a very interesting statement to make, and it's, we're all going to be kind to each other today. And kindness is being nice, not teasing each other. And just setting the stage for that. I think a parent can do the same.
Okay. One of the things, and actually as a dream coach, I, been concerned about this a lot, is the situation of nightmares with children. How do you deal with, a child who has a nightmare? How do you, what is your take on that?
Some of it depends upon the temperament of the child, who may not want to come tell the parent. But as a child, I had nightmares. And when I woke up, I would want to go to my parents' bedroom, but that was not allowed at that time. So I think that a child who has a nightmare needs comfort, even if it's in the middle of the night. The younger they are, the more comfort they might need to be able to go back and sleep in their bed, or to sleep on the floor next to mom and dad, or to get a sleeping bag out and go to the den. But sometimes forcing a child back into bed when they're having the nightmare doesn't really help. So I would offer assistance in the way that a parent can, and offer comfort, even if it means the child is awake at 1 a.m. I'd rather go out and have a glass of milk or a glass of juice and talk it through than just put them back to bed when they're scared. I spent too many nights covering my head with my pillow as a child, and thank God my sister slept in the same room with me. But I had those kinds of fears as a kid, so I understand that. Mm-hmm. I hope that helps.
Yes, it is.
Caron, thank you for being on Dream Power Radio today. We've been speaking with counselor and psychotherapist Caron Goode about parenting. If you want more information about Caron, you can go to her website, academyforcoachingparents.com, which contains blogs and videos about parenting, and is also a resource if you want to pursue a career in being a parenting coach. Caron's books are also available on Amazon. I hope you enjoyed today's program. Until next time, this is Debbie Spector-Weissman saying, sweet dreams, everybody.
You've been listening to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman. For more information on Debbie or to sign up for her newsletter, go to dreampowerradio.com. This has been Dream Power Radio on the amazing Women and Men of Power Network, the world's leading positive programming network, powered by Raven International.